Novi didn't need to know there was a serial killer in their midst. She didn't need to worry about the Estelian claiming to have information about his long-dead brother. It wasn't the first time Fallon had heard this rumor, although it was the first time he'd been approached by a trusted member of his cabinet. Renata, from the Shippers' Guild of all people, had taken him aside the day before yesterday and mustered the courage, or stupidity, to suggest that an enemy from the Estelian Empire had crossed the Ilunian Straits just to pass along the message that Dylan was still alive. He'd allegedly been doing forced labor at Bleakmore Prison, deep across enemy lines. Fallon had been seconds away from relieving Renata from her duties when she dropped that secret name, Nilin. To anyone else, it sounded benign, nothing more than a two-syllable word. But to Fallon, it stopped him in his tracks. It nearly stopped his heart from beating. Nilin!
Those were his words, sire,
Renata stammered with a shaky voice.
Marinosian's exact words were that his friend in prison only ever called himself Nilin. He said his brothers gave him the name. Something to do with being as unimaginative and boring as vanilla.
Renata bowed her head even lower.
Those are not my words, Your Highness. Please forgive me for speaking them out loud.
She'd waited so faithfully, trembling and obedient, for the heir to the throne to demand she turn in the Chimera brooch that signified her importance to the crown. Surely he'd banish her from court any second. But as the seconds passed, Prince Fallon of Sinaryos didn't fly into a fit of rage. He was too busy choking down the lump in his throat. Nilin is short for Dylan Vanillin, he explained, in a voice that only she could hear. Renata's eyes darted up to see her prince wearing a tight, cautious grin.
That's not exactly the name I recall hearing around the court back then, sire,
Renata admitted. Fallon shook his head. No, it's well known that Dylan the villain earned his name in response to how he treated his enemies, Fallon confirmed. My brother was taught to keep a list, just like His Majesty. The timid expression on Renata's face drifted away, replaced by the curious intelligence of a woman on the cusp of middle age.
I beg your forgiveness, Your Highness, but what's the reason for the other name?
A soft laugh escaped Fallon's chest, making the medals on it catch the light streaming in from the windows. As a firstborn, Dylan was groomed since birth to become king. He never had any say in what he studied, how he dressed, who he married, or even what he ate. He always did as he was told, and was told what to think. The sovereign folded his arms across his chest as he tapped into the hidden memories of his youth.